Welcome to Shadow of Truth with your host, Rory Hall from thedailycoin.org and Dave Kranzler from investmentresearchdynamics.com. How's it going today, Dave?
It's always a good day when I wake up and turn on the TV and see gold's up $15.
It is a good day. Maybe we should
back
talk
over
about
17.
That. Silver's back over 17. I like it.
I have a feeling that's what we're going to talk about today. What about you?
I like talking about gold. Well, let's get to it.
Silver to pop up like this.
Entirely too strong.
Right. Part of it is, it tells you how short the hedge funds are. They're still short gold and silver and mining stocks because, the mining stocks per the Huey, and this is just the large cap stocks, a lot of the juniors are up even more. The Huey's up almost 2.5%. And if the Dow was up 2.5% in a day, it would be at 20,300 right now.
Ooh.
That gives you it puts a 2.5% move in the Huey index into context.
Yes, it does.
And right now, the hedge funds are probably close to record long, if not record long, the dollar. And if Trump gets in there and decides to try and implement or coerce the Fed and the working group on financial markets to push the dollar down to make U.S. exports more competitive, which probably wouldn't be a bad thing. The run-up in the dollar was artificial, wasn't warranted, and it's choking off U.S. exports. It's going to take a chunk out of the U.S. GDP, although I'm sure the Bureau of Economic Administration or whatever they call themselves, the BEA, I'm sure they'll massage away all the negatives so they can present, another huge GDP quarter. Well, huge relative to what it should be.
Yeah, well, just move it to wherever the picture favors them the most.
Right, but be that as it may, when you look at the guys that Trump's putting into his cabinet, they're gonna argue for a lower dollar. So I think that's part of why we're seeing the response today that we're seeing in the precious metals sector is based on that tweet, the anticipation that the U.S. will try to implement a policy that'll take the dollar lower, and it's gonna trigger another. There's already a trade war going on. It's just not reported on, and it's not highly visible. But China's been devaluing its yuan, and it's probably the U.S.'s turn to take the dollar down. So we're seeing the Voltairean prediction in operation, where he said all fiat currencies eventually reach their intrinsic value, which is zero. And I remember back in 2001 when I first got into this sector, James Dines was predicting an eventual, competitive race to zero by the whole world with their currencies. In a fight to, it's like a rotating. It's a rotating competition where everyone takes turns taking their currency down, their fiat currency down, to try and stimulate their exports. And so there's such a huge long position in the dollar at the hedge funds that if the dollar gets any kind of downside momentum, the hedge fund algos are going to just very quickly take the dollar. They'll dump their dollars, buy back other currencies, and they'll buy gold. Because that's how they're programmed. They're programmed like that so that everything moves in sync.
Seems like some of them are buying gold now.
Well, yeah, we're seeing the unwind of the big short position on the COMEX in paper gold, and today's move in the dollar is exacerbates that process.
Well, and Theresa May over in Great Britain saying that Britain is going to leave the EU and calling for a vote right away to determine that outcome, whether or not they're going to leave. And from all indications, they are going to leave the EU, which will do a lot of damage to the euro currency. And then if we get the follow-on from France and several other nations that are talking about leaving the EU, then we have a real problem as far as the currencies are concerned.
No, people
No?
who don't own gold have a real problem.
Well,
Look, fiat currencies are destined to, from the minute a fiat currency is born, it's destined to have a very short lifespan. I mean, right now, I think there's been maybe one or two other periods in history where there were longer periods of time when a fiat currency was the world reserve currency, so to speak. The dollar's been the world reserve currency as a fiat currency now for, what is it, 40, 45, 46 years?
Yeah, it'd be
46
years come August.
Yeah. So it's just from a statistical probability standpoint, the odds that it's going to last much longer, and we're already seeing it losing its status as the reserve currency. China and Russia are chipping away at that, which is why the U.S. is militarily so belligerent toward those two countries. I mean, it's the cover story is political or whatever, but it's at the root of it is the dollar
and gold. More so dollar. I understand that, but
yeah,
gold is still there.
I guess to the extent that gold is the antithesis of the dollar, then yeah, I mean gold is wrapped into the conflict. So,
got to be. Otherwise, they wouldn't have stolen Ukraine's gold and Libya's gold as soon as they had the opportunity. China and Russia both wouldn't be gathering together as much gold as they have been for the past decade or more. I mean,
that's right.
Somebody knows something. Somebody's anticipating something, and it involves gold in some way. They aren't making trinkets. I mean, they aren't. They're not making jewelry with it.
Well, India is. That's how they do it. But they're making a lot of gold jewelry, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's all 21, 22 carat.
Right. And contrary to the fake news reports, what Modi tried to do over there didn't really do a lot to the gold demand into India.
Doesn't seem to have hurt it too much.
No, it hasn't.
I mean, I'm looking at didthesystemcollapse.com right now, and that at premium backwardation in physical versus digital has climbed back to above 23, whereas it was all the way down to about 13 yesterday, with the market being somewhat closed. It was open for Europe. That a $10 move in less than 24 hours. That means somebody's getting gold, physical gold.
Well, the ex-duty premiums overnight in India were $6 in the morning and $5 in the afternoon, which is plenty. Which means that there was plenty of kilo bars flowing into India, and the duty advantage for doré imports was $15.50. So there were plenty of doré bars going into India.
This is above board, not
right. And Brimlow's comment this morning was Reuters has another report of a smuggler being apprehended. So the gold business appears to be returning to normal in India.
If they're catching one or two here and there, then, or reporting about it, I should say. It seems like the inauguration is sucking up all the news this week, Dave. There's a little bit here and there about other things going on, but it seems like the snowflakes are about to lose their mind over the fact that Trump is in fact going to be put into office.
Well, you know what? I don't have a lot to say about that other than it's going to be a good time. Friday will be. Is that when the inauguration is? Friday?
Yes,
I don't even know
Friday.
when it is. I care less. It'll be a good time to pop some popcorn and sit back and watch the fireworks. I have a feeling that it's probably going to be a disappointment to people who are expecting a lot of action.
You think so?
I think so, yeah. Right. I mean, just look at all the attention the media is getting out of reporting everything that's going on. Sells advertising, my man.
Yep. Sell soap and beer.
Yep.
That's all they care about. How much soap and beer we can sell. Well, all right, Dave, we got anything else we need to cover?
I think that's it for me. How about you?
I'm doing good. I guess we'll pick it up on Thursday.
Yep, that sounds good.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
You too.